Welcome to News 6 Extra. I'm Christopher Heath. It is Wednesday, October the 29th. Kath Lee, this is almost it's like Friday adjacent for you because you're off on Friday.
Well,
you're off tomorrow too.
I'm off tomorrow.
This is your Friday.
So this is my Friday. Yes.
Wow,
Yes.
Mailing it in. Just you're like, yeah, wrap this up, dude. Come on. The sooner you shut up with what you're talking about, pal, the sooner I'm out of here.
No. I'll stay to the end of the shift. So technically, I have an hour and a half. So, listen, we can talk for the next hour and a half.
You go home early today. I said so.
Hey,
I have that power. Do I have that power? I don't know if I do.
Yes, you do have that power.
Kathy's like, yes, you do. You don't need to check with anyone. No, I'm sure. Don't even bother. Good stuff. Well, enjoy your days off.
Well, thank you.
We'll miss you. I'm sure you'll be watching.
I may, yeah. I do have to go to the DMV tomorrow, so I don't know.
Like new license plates?
Yes. Well, my license is expiring in December, and I just want to go ahead and get it out of the way. So I have to go there.
Do you really? Because I did mine online. And then they just send you a notice and says it's ready, and you go to the pickup window in Orange County, and they just hand it to you.
Well, last time I did it online, and this time they said I have to go in. Like every other time. That.
Are you at 10 years?
Yes.
Okay, then you have to go in because you're going to have to get a new plate, but you can still do all of it online, and then they'll send you a notice and let you know the new plate is ready. Florida has this weird thing that at 10 years, you get a new license plate. Somebody's in league with those fat cats at big license plate. Because, after 10 years, I didn't know that either. And then I hit the 10-year mark, and they're like, no, you need to come get a new plate. And I'm like, there's nothing wrong with my existing one. And they're like, that doesn't matter. After 10 years, we issue a new plate.
Okay, well, I'm going to check. Because if I don't have to go to the DMV, then I will be front and center watching tomorrow.
Nice. I went to the one, you and I live kind of in the same area, near Lee Vista. 417 Lee Vista? Yeah.
Yeah. I hear that's very good.
In and out.
Good.
Super easy, cheesy. Well, good. Are you going to get a specialty license plate or just the standard?
No, just get the standard. I thought about getting a Disney one, but I don't know. No. Maybe I'll change my mind when I get there.
Yeah. Okay. I figured with your love for animals, you get the animal one. I get the standard, so I'm not going to tell you what to do with your hard-earned money. All righty. Okay, so we have weather with Candace today to kick things off. Obviously, if you woke up this morning and went outside, you felt it was cooler. And of course, Hurricane Melissa's out there churning. Here's Candace Campos.
I'm News 6 Chief Meteorologist Candace Campos. Here's a breakout of all the big changes coming to our local forecast over the next couple of days. For today, temperatures will be once again running below average. It will be breezy at times with just a few spotty showers, primarily after the sun goes down, all associated with our next cold front. Once that front finally clears, we are in store for a nice big drop in those temperatures. We're talking some of the coolest air not only have we seen this season, but since early March. Look at those temperatures throughout the day. We're in the upper 60s to low 70s. We are going to continue to rebound our highs today to near 80 degrees this afternoon. Again, most of us will stay mainly dry. Our best shot for rain is only a low 10 to 20% chance throughout the overnight hours. Let me show you here clouds and rain futurecast. You can see the arrival of that front by about 10, 11 o'clock this evening. A couple scattered showers can't be ruled out. Nothing compared to what the last front brought us, with obviously the record rainfall in parts of central Florida or the severe weather on Monday. On Thursday morning, though, we'll take some time to start bringing in some of that cooler, drier air. So the big drop in temperatures won't be noticeable just yet early Thursday morning. It will start to be felt throughout the day on Thursday. So as we kind of widen out the view, our mid-level moisture map showing Hurricane Melissa quickly starting to speed out to a bit closer towards the island of Bermuda come Thursday and Friday. In the wake of this front, though, a big swath of drier air will continue to take control, not only for your Thursday, but Friday, Saturday, and into your weekend. Look at the temperatures behind that cold front tomorrow. Again, that's really the most noticeable change with our highs. On Thursday, we're going to gradually start warming up with our highs, but it's always that second night where we see the coldest temperatures, and that looks to be Halloween morning. Temperatures will be dropping down into the low 50s, both Halloween morning and Halloween night. So let me show you here, kind of breaking it out county by county here for your Friday morning wake-up temperatures. We will be dropping down into the mid-40s across our northwestern zones near 49 in Palm Coast, almost area-wide staying below 55 degrees. early Halloween morning. So as we take you here, hour by hour, as you're making all the Halloween festivities on Friday, you can see by 3 o'clock, we'll still be in those 60s, could warm up at best to about 74 degrees. And then all the trick-or-treaters heading out later on in the evening Friday after about sunset around 6:40. Temperatures will still be in those mid-60s, so certainly a cool night. And this cool weather does look to hold on for a little longer, at least below average temperatures, till at least November 8th. As you get results here, the full 7-day forecast really tracking some nice, much cooler, drier air throughout the rest of the next 7 days. And to add some more good news to the mix, we also get that extra hour of sleep as you go to bed Saturday night.
Daylight saving time. Terrible idea. We should get rid of it. Absolutely abolish it. Florida did the right thing with the Sunshine Protection Act. Unfortunately, Congress needs to act, and the Congress hasn't done anything in a while. Congress is not in session right now. Well, the House isn't in session. Our government's still shut down, and we're still stuck with daylight saving time. They can't pass a budget. They can't get rid of daylight saving time. 0 for 2. Anyway, as Candace mentioned, a lot going on in the weather right now, and one of the things we've been keeping our eye on is Hurricane Melissa. And we watched yesterday as it started to come ashore in Jamaica, and the wind speeds in this storm, 180 miles an hour. Later in the afternoon, they were showing images of the Hurricane Hunter plane. If you were watching News 6 at 5 and at 6 o'clock, you saw some of these images as they tried to go into the storm and had to turn around. I mean, it's unheard of for a aircraft designed to do this to get in and say, no, this is not where we need to be. This is not safe. And you see that eye, and you see how just strong the storm is. And so now, as we are getting on the other side of the storm going across Jamaica, 200-mile-an-hour gusts, and you're starting to get some, as the sun comes up, some of the images of the devastation left. Jason Allen is down in Kingston for us right now, reporting on the devastation and what we're starting to see as the storm, starts to now enter Cuba after going across Jamaica, hitting Jamaica as a extremely powerful Cat 5 hurricane.
Dangerous flooding filled streets in southeast Cuba Wednesday morning as Hurricane Melissa barrels north. The devastation in Jamaica is starting to become clear. Cars are underwater. Many homes have turned into piles of rubble. Buildings still standing are flooded. And officials say rescue efforts for at least 3 families were stopped due to unsafe conditions.
The parish of St. Elizabeth is underwater.
When the slow-moving Category 5 storm made landfall Tuesday afternoon, wind gusts topping 200 miles per hour and torrents of rain violently lashed the island. Video captured roofs and debris whipping across the town of Black River. Some residents sheltered inside a hospital as shutters and electrical lines tore through the parking lot. That clinic suffered structural damage and doesn't have power, along with more than 530,000 Jamaicans. Prime Minister Andrew Holness told CBS News.
There's scarcely any building or infrastructure that would escape without some form of damage.
Holness declared the island a disaster area. More than 15,000 people are in shelters across the country.
We have budgeted and we have prepared a certain level of response, but a Category 5 would require support from the international community.
We were around Kingston this morning, and the power is on there. There's also fuel available there. That is very good news when it comes to opening the airport sooner rather than later, something that's absolutely going to be necessary for getting aid teams and assistance here into the country. Jason Allen, CBS News, Old Harbor, Jamaica.
And of course, Central Florida with a very vibrant, very large Jamaican community. And I know many of those organizations, we've covered a couple in the last few days, and we'll continue to cover the ones that are out there putting together some of those aid packages and starting to, pool their resources to do what Central Florida does anytime that there's a disaster, either here in the United States or anywhere around the world. We pitch in. And so we're going to continue to cover that and follow that as Jamaica recovers from this really once in a century storm. Speaking of recovering, if you go to Lake County, there is an effort underway right now, the community coming together to try and help those who have been impacted by, again, flooding and a weather system that is unheard of. We saw more than a foot of rain dumped on the Mount Dora Eustis area in just a few hours Sunday night into Monday morning, causing, roads to be washed out, causing flooding, causing these culverts to open up behind homes, impacting hundreds of lives out there. And so now the community is coming together to help those who have been impacted. Mark Lehman got a firsthand look at what's going on in Lake County.
Out here in Eustis today, a lot of people have lined up to receive supplies in the wake of the storm that happened over the weekend. Some saying they experienced damage themselves, and others are helping friends or family who are impacted by the storm. Every one of them saying they're grateful for the support.
It's a help. Every little thing will help.
Josephine Etheridge was the first to line up outside the Spirit of Life Church as several nonprofits came together to distribute food and supplies. It's happening as she and others are still drying out from Sunday's storm.
The water came in underneath my sliding doors. I had to go out and get the sandbags.
Pumps are continuing to run in Eustis, and several roads are looking at repairs after a record 19 inches of rain fell in some areas of Lake County.
We were inside the house and we heard it coming, and there was just no stopping. It just kept on going all night long.
Amelia Valdiva says she's seen the damage a lot of people have suffered from the flash flooding, and also sees why many need support. 2 distribution events happening in Eustis and Mount Dora today. It's part of a commitment from Lake Support and Recovery, giving homeowners help in cleaning up while the county is continuing to deal with the devastating effects from the storm.
Every little bit helps.
In Lake County, Mark Lehman, News 6.
All right, stay with us. Coming up on the other side of this break, we will follow up on a very tragic story out of Brevard County, as well as look at what's going on out at the Orlando International Airport as airport workers now miss one full paycheck. And somebody cue the police, not the actual police, the band, Sting. We got a message in a bottle. That's next. Welcome back to News 6 Extra. I am Christopher Heath. We're heading out to Brevard County now, and those of us who have lived in Central Florida for a while know that whether you're living near the Wekiva Forest and you're dealing with black bears, you're living coastal or near any kind of water, you're dealing with alligators and sometimes crocodiles. You get out along the coast, so it's one of those things we're all kind of accustomed to. But when they cross into being nuisances, interacting with animals, interacting with pets, and interacting with people, that's when it can be a real problem. Wildlife officials have been able to trap a crocodile along Satellite Beach, one that neighbors say for quite a while has been targeting pets in the area. Troy Campbell was out there talking to people in the neighborhood about what their reaction is now that this reptile has been caught.
Residents here in Satellite Beach tell us on Monday afternoon, this is the exact location where wildlife officials pulled that crocodile up. People who live here tell us that they've spotted the same crocodile several times.
It's been going on for years with the same crocodile. So I came up and met him up here, and I've seen the crocodile a few times, but never with a full-size dog in its mouth.
Satellite Beach neighbors Joey Antonelli and Brad Evers say on Monday afternoon they came out to this ditch near the corner of South Patrick Drive and Sea Park Boulevard after this 11-foot crocodile was spotted swimming with what appeared to be a deceased dog in its mouth. Antonelli says he took this video of the croc. How would you describe what it looked like?
The scene was, I don't know, I mean, the scene was pretty dramatic. It was, our friend was pulling the deceased animal up onto the shore because the croc had let it go of his mouth. And when I showed up, they were trying to lasso the croc.
In this video from Monday afternoon in Satellite Beach, you can see trappers with the Florida Fish and Wildlife Conservation Commission on top the American crocodile. FWC says this is the furthest north a croc has been tracked in North America. Neighbors say this isn't the first time this crocodile has been spotted.
We know it was that one. It's got a unique tag, number 40. It was 2 years ago. It was taken to Fort Pierce in the end of the year. And then early the next year, it was spotted, tag number 40 at Sebastian Inlet. And then shortly after in the summer, it was spotted back up here in the same canal.
With a crocodile, they're a little bit bigger. The American crocodile is a little bit bigger than the American alligator, and they're more of a timid species.
Brandon Fisher with Gatorland says American crocodiles are a protected species and says wildlife officials take extra effort to relocate them before euthanization. What went through your mind when you found out that they spotted one in Brevard County?
Well, honestly, Troy, it's not the only time that a crocodile has been spotted in Brevard County, and it seems to be that this crocodile in particular is the one that they've relocated a handful of times.
FWC says the crocodile has now been placed in permanent captivity.
Because it got a hold of that dog, now it's a bigger problem. Them releasing it and relocating it again, it's probably going to come back and search for food like that now that it's got its taste of a dog.
And again, FWC says the crocodile was moved to a facility, and people who live here say they're hopeful no more pets will be harmed. In Satellite Beach, Troy Campbell, News 6.
So I mentioned early on my earlier tirade about complaining about daylight saving time. I remember interviewing Marco Rubio years ago, and he was the one that after the Florida legislature passed its bill to pull Florida out of daylight saving time, he's the one that spearheaded it in the Senate. And he and I sat down and talked about this during a couple of different interviews over several years. And, his whole rationale was it doesn't make sense. But at the same time, Florida can't just pull itself out. You have to have the United States Congress do that. Otherwise, Florida would have a problem of being kind of like parts of New Mexico and Indiana that, are we in one? Are we in out of another? It doesn't work. You got to get rid of it whole cloth, get rid of the whole thing. And so Congress has had this in front of them. They've had it in front of them during the first Trump administration. They had it in front of them during the entire Biden administration. It's in front of them again now. And yet we're stuck with daylight saving time. Somebody in big clock out there is pulling the strings or something. Anyway, but I bemoan them not being able to get rid of daylight saving time. And then we pivot to the fact that it is now government shutdown day 29. We are hurtling towards the longest government shutdown in U.S. history. We're already starting to see flight delays. And it's not just, listen, Orlando International, MCO has done a great job of trying to keep everything moving, keep everything smooth. The thing is, though, there's always downstream effects. If an airport that you are getting a plane from that's flying into Orlando International and then somewhere else is having a delay, that causes delay at MCO, which is going to cause a delay somewhere else. It's a cascading effect. The entire network is either working as one or it's not. And we're starting to see air traffic controllers stressed out, missing work. Now they're obligated to go to work, but they can call out sick and they're not getting paid. They missed their first full paycheck this week, and they're still being told they need to go into work, even though, as I mentioned, the United States House of Representatives has not held a vote since September 15th and hasn't really done any work since early October. So yesterday we sent Jane and Manahalal out to the airport where air traffic controllers are trying to educate the public about what they're going through and say to them, do your part to help us out a little bit. Contact your state, contact your member of the United States House, contact both of your senators and tell them to get this solved, to get us paid. Because again, they're working for us, but not getting paid. Here's Jana's report.
That's right. I'm at the Orlando International Airport and stationed at each of the entrances of Terminal B, as well as the other terminals. You'll find union members of the National Air Traffic Controllers Association handing out leaflets that look like this one that say, "End the government shutdown immediately." And now they're handing these out to passengers who are willing to listen to their message of hoping to get paid, because the TSA agents that you see working behind me, as well as those air traffic controllers, are not being paid for the work that they're doing.
We need to make sure that they are taken care of. We need to make sure that they have a strong union.
Denise Pella Castro is one of many passengers flying out of the Orlando International Airport on a day where TSA and air traffic control workers are now on the job with no paycheck in sight. Jeremy Heinbach, an air traffic controller for the Orlando International Airport and union rep, says that safety and security remain a top priority.
The why we're coming in every single day is apparent to everybody as you walk around this place. All the families and everything, we're going to continue to show up and do the job.
Heinbach mentions that since air traffic controllers are government employees, coordinated organized sick outs, meaning not showing up during a shutdown, is illegal, and it has led to increased hours and fatigue for controllers.
It is a stressful and fatiguing job, and what we are here to stop is any unnecessary distraction and fatigue and stress caused by the shutdown. Not knowing when you're going to be able to pay your next bill, that adds something to the dynamic that we want out of the control room.
Heimbach says that air traffic controllers first received a partial check at the beginning of the shutdown, and the most recent biweekly check was all zeros. To ensure operations run smoothly in the tower, Heimbach says passengers could experience slow air traffic.
What we are going to do is, if there's not enough controllers in any scenario, we're going to slow down the traffic.
In Orlando, at the Orlando International Airport, your community correspondent, Jana Manahala, News 6.
Certainly hope we can get the shutdown resolved. Kathleen, that would be fantastic. But the House isn't in session. The Senate is, I believe, not scheduled to hold any weekend votes, so that they're gone until next week. And the president is I believe, back from his Asia trip now. So, doesn't look good.
No, it doesn't. And sometimes it's hard to get people to work even when they are getting paid. So my heart goes out to those workers who are still showing up and doing their best. And there's really they don't even know when they're going to get paid again. And that's tough. That's a tough situation to be in.
Well, and of course, we're covering right now, I think, the fact that, Orange County is starting to sound the alarm over SNAP benefits. Those disappear come Saturday morning. The Department of Children and Families in Florida has already announced that your November SNAP benefits will not be paid out. Now, in previous shutdowns, they have allowed for SNAP to continue. This time they chose not to, and so now all of a sudden we're not going to have supplemental nutrition assistance for the working poor, for families, for the elderly, for veterans. All sorts of people use SNAP, and starting this weekend, those benefits are gone. So we're starting to see the effects of the fact that our Article 1 branch and Article 2 branch of our wonderful democratic republic cannot do their jobs.
No, and
Anyway.
as you said before, like we saw it coming. We knew it was going to happen, and something's got to be done. Somebody's got to budge on one side or the other. We got to have a compromise, and soon.
Compromise. Nobody gets reelected on compromising.
Right, exactly.
No. You get reelected by holding your position come hell or high water, and I would argue we have seen plenty of both. All right, let's talk about a message in a bottle. This is Australia. World War I bottle, message in a bottle dating back to World War I. Message was written by two soldiers sailing to France in 1916. The letters were written in pencil. One included the name of a soldier's mother as well as her address. The family was able to actually track down the soldier's relatives. You hear about, this is fascinating, you hear about people putting messages in a bottle. And I think it's always been kind of those Hollywood tropes where, you're stranded on a desert island and you write a message and you throw it into the ocean and hope the currents will carry it somewhere. Clearly, somebody did this during World War I. So we're talking about 1919, about that time frame. And this thing's just been floating around out there for more than a century. And washes ashore. And I think that, that'd be a cool memento if you find one of those that was written by your great grandfather, great grandmother, and somebody contacts you and they're like, yeah, that's really interesting stuff there. You ever done that before? Ever gone down?
I haven't. But you know what? Now, seeing this story, I was thinking about that. I was like, I need to do a message in a bottle and throw it out there and see. But knowing me, it'll be found in 2 days.
You just come washing back ashore, and there'll be pictures of you, and it'll be like Kathleen from News 6 seen littering in the ocean.
Right, exactly.
That's how it'll go.
So that's kind of my luck. But I think that's so fascinating, and how they were able to track down, the living relatives of the soldier. I think they even said that they started with one. They got one soldier's family, and then they did some more research and were able to get the second relatives of the second soldier. So it's just with technology and everything, to be able to do that this many years later, it's just kind of gives me goosebumps. Now I want to do a message in a bottle.
Have you ever gone to kind of along that same vein? You ever been involved in one of the time capsules, either like when they're putting it together or when they're pulling it out?
No, but that would be neat too. I mean, there may have been something in school where they did one, but not me personally have been involved.
I get into a couple of them over the years where it's like, usually like a city hall or county building or something where they, when they built the building and they christened it, they put a time capsule in there to be open 50 years later. And it's fun. You look in there and there's usually, old pictures and like a program from the day. And you always kind of, I think, hold your breath when they open them, that the thing was sealed correctly. Because if it wasn't, and you get some water intrusion, then there may not be much left behind. But super cool.
Right. Right. That would be interesting. Maybe we should do that. Maybe we should do a time capsule, a News 6 time capsule.
News 6 time capsule. Yes. We can put Mike DeForest in it. We'll just seal him in there like the cask of Amontillado. And then we'll open it up years later and he'll be like, hey, we'll be like, oh, Mike, you're still alive. No, we're not going to kill Mike DeForest. I should go on the record and say that we will not be killing Mike DeForest.
No, we need his reporting.
We do.
We need him to report. We can't lose him.
I'll go tell him that we workshopped the idea, but we changed our mind at the very last minute not to seal him in a living tomb.
Right.
Good stuff. Good stuff. All right. Kathleen, thank you so much. Enjoy your time off. I'll see you on Monday when you're back here, bright-eyed, bushy-tailed, ready to hit the ground running.
Yes, and I want to see all the Halloween costume photos when I get back.
Yes. No, I got mine laid out last night. I'm ready to go. So we're churning away. So, all right, Kathleen, thank you so much. Thank you to Candace for the weather, and thank you for watching. We'll be back here tomorrow. Well, I will. Kathleen will be gone. We'll have Penny in the hot seat over there. Back here tomorrow at 12:30 to do this all over again. Of course, we break news all the time on clickorlando.com, and we'll be on the air today starting at 4 o'clock with the very latest on flooding recovery, both in Brevard County and in Lake County, as well as one county's push to try and sew up what is going to be a really tough time for a lot of people when SNAP benefits disappear on Saturday morning. So between now and then, have a fantastic day, and I'll see you back here tomorrow.